President Biden is sending U.S. military to the border ahead of an expected migrant surge. We'll have the latest.
There may be good news for students and parents at a local high school fighting to save an Arabic language course. I'm Luis Avila reporting live in Anaheim. I'll have that story coming up.
President Biden calls for the release of journalists wrongfully detained abroad. Stay tuned to hear more from a Chapman News reporter who was at the White House Correspondents' Dinner.
The message is this: journalism is not a crime.
From Dodge College of Film and Media Arts, this is Chapman News.
Good afternoon and welcome to this week's edition of Chapman News. I'm Danielle Burke-North.
And I'm Emma Charles. Our top story today, the White House moves to get control of an expected migrant surge at the U.S. border with Mexico. President Biden today has ordered 1,500 U.S. troops to the border. The administration expects a surge at the border in the coming days because pandemic-era restrictions that allowed authorities to turn away thousands of migrants are ending. Even with those restrictions, there have been record numbers of people crossing the border. The White House says that military will not interact with migrants and will instead provide administrative support so that U.S. Customs and Border Patrol can focus on law enforcement. It is not yet clear exactly when the U.S. troops will be deployed.
Members of the Writers Guild of America are on strike today, calling for fair compensation and better working conditions from the major studios in Hollywood. The WGA says in the streaming era of television, median weekly pay has declined. Most TV seasons are now shorter, making it difficult for writers to make a sustainable living year-round. During the strike, late-night network programs like The Tonight Show are shutting down. Late-night host Stephen Colbert had this to say about the strike.
This negotiation impacts our whole staff, of course, who work so hard to bring you this show every night, which is why everybody, including myself, hopes both sides reach a deal.
The last time the WGA went on strike was 15 years ago, a strike which lasted 100 days.
The U.S. Border Patrol is now assisting in the search for the gunman who shot and killed 5 people in Cleveland, Texas. Authorities say the shooter may be trying to flee to Mexico. Police say Francisco Oropeza shot and killed 5 of his neighbors, including a young boy, on Friday after they asked him to stop shooting his rifle in his front yard because they were trying to sleep. Those who were killed were all from Honduras. Sheriff Greg Capers spoke about the youngest victim, who was just 9 years old.
I don't care if he was here legally. I don't care if he was here illegally. He was in my county. 5 people died in my county, and that is where my heart is.
There are reports the shooter had been deported to Mexico previously. The FBI is offering $80,000 for information that leads to his arrest.
The Treasury Department is warning that U.S. government could run out of money to pay its bills as soon as June 1st. If the government defaults on its debt, that could send the nation's economy into a recession. President Biden has invited House Speaker Kevin McCarthy and other congressional leaders to the White House next week to discuss raising the debt ceiling. Reporters, politicians, and celebrities all gathered in Washington, D.C. this past weekend. The annual White House Correspondents' Dinner. The event is meant to remind us of the importance of the First Amendment and freedom of press.
Chapman News reporter Juhi Doshi attended the dinner as a scholarship recipient and joins us now to talk about the highlights.
Thanks, Emma and Danielle. That's right. While the White House Correspondents' Dinner is a moment for the press and president to poke fun at each other, with comedian Roy Wood Jr. headlining the event, it's also an opportunity for the president to spotlight the role of journalists in our nation. President Joe Biden made plenty of jokes early in his speech, but struck a serious tone when he called for the release of wrongfully detained journalists abroad. Biden called out the imprisonment of Evan Gershkovich, the Wall Street Journal reporter who the U.S. State Department has deemed wrongfully detained in Russia. He also recognized Austin Tice, a journalist who has been held in Syria for over a decade.
Juhi, turn your mic on.
Tonight,
Is it on? Is it on?
our message is this: journalism is not a crime. Evan and Austin should be released immediately, along with every other American held hostage or wrongfully detained abroad.
Brittany Griner, the WNBA star who was freed from Russia after being wrongfully detained last year, was also in attendance.
This time last year, we were praying for you, Brittany, hoping you knew how hard all of us were fighting for your release. It's great to have you home. And boys, I can hardly wait to see you back on the court, kid.
Paul Whelan, the former U.S. Marine who has been jailed since 2018 in Russia on charges of espionage, which he and the U.S. government have denied, was also recognized.
Paul Whelan, unjustly held in Russia for more than 4 years, whose brave sister I've met with and whose family has never quit fighting for Paul. And I promise you, neither will I and neither will this administration until we get him home.
Those who spoke, including the WHCA President Tamara Keith, also recognized the difficulties facing journalists here in the U.S. with the recent slew of layoffs at NPR, BuzzFeed, Vice, Gannett, and others. Biden and Daily Show correspondent Roy Wood Jr. joked about Tucker Carlson, Don Lemon, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, and others.
Juhi, tell us about your experience at being a guest at the dinner.
Sure. As a recipient of the WHCA and Asian American Journalists Association scholarship, I had the opportunity to participate in a press briefing with the White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre, meet the President and First Lady, and network with tons of White House reporters. Every year, I look forward to watching the dinner at home with my family, so being there in person and catching myself on TV was surreal.
What was the main piece of advice you received from the reporters you met?
So most, if not all, of the reporters said to never give up, stay persistent, and advocate for yourself in the newsroom. And as journalists ourselves, we often feel intimidated by our responsibilities, but it's important to stay focused on the task at hand.
Thank you for joining us, Juhi, and representing Chapman News at the White House.
Thank you, guys.
We have another Chapman News reporter joining us in the studio this afternoon. Weather anchor Alex Konyertz is here to tell us about the return of El Nino. Alex?
Thanks, Danielle and Emma. We could see record high temperatures around the world this year and into 2024. Scientists say that's because of an increase in greenhouse gas emissions and the return of El Nino. El Nino is a natural occurring phenomenon created by ocean surfaces warming and above average sea surface temperatures in the Pacific Ocean. The Climate Prediction Center says there's a 62% chance El Nino will start to occur this month, following a 3-year period of La Nina, which is the opposite climate pattern, periodic cooling at sea surface temperatures in the east center equatorial Pacific. While the water temperature changes happen in the tropics, they affect the weather around the globe. Here are some of the areas expected to see the most impact. In the southeast region, El Nino is expected to bring droughts, especially to India, a country that has already experienced an unusual early onset of heat waves this year. India is expected to see a weaker monsoon season. This could have a negative impact on agriculture there. In the southern region of South America, El Nino causes extremely wet conditions. Unlike India, Peru is expected to have heightened concerns of flooding and typhoons. Locally, El Nino will have a dramatic effect on California and bring more rain to the region. Once El Nino begins, the risk of landslides, coast erosions, and flooding is expected to worsen. The strongest impact of El Nino is predicted to happen in the winter and continue into early 2024. Stay tuned for the national and local weather forecast later on.
Some students and parents at a local high school have been fighting to save a language class.
The class has been scheduled to be eliminated. Chapman News reporter Luis Avila is live in Anaheim with an update.
Thanks, Emma and Danielle. Behind me is Western High School, where community members have been rallying to keep an Arabic program going, the first and only of its kind in OC. The city is home to Little Arabia, which was officially recognized less than a year ago. With an ever-growing Middle Eastern population, supporters say this course is vital in promoting and representing their culture. Western High School senior Ian Debernitz talked to me about its importance.
The Arabic language program we have here at Western is the only one in the county. And that's something where I'm like, when I see the impacts of things like, taxes and whatnot on my friends who, experience a lot more of the hardships of Anaheim than I do, It's one of those things where I feel like having opportunities like this at our school, let alone the county, is one of those things where it can help people out of those situations because it's such a unique skill that the benefits that can come from it are bigger and bigger the further out you look.
And I was informed just a few hours ago by the student that an administrator told him, due to community pressure, the program is coming back next year. I contacted the school district, but they are not yet confirming this information. I'm Luis Avila reporting live in Anaheim. Back to you at the desk.
I'm Alexandra Cohen-Yarts. Are you already making weekend plans? You'll want to hear all about the weather forecast coming up after the break.
When you adopt a shelter pet, you discover their unique mix of all kinds of traits.
Where'd Wiley go? Where's Wiley? Ah, there she is.
Paw, do you remember being an ancient wolf? Do you ever feel the call of the wild?
You're a renegade cop, and I'm a con woman with nothing to prove. But together, we could really solve this murder.
They're a little bit of a lot of things, but all of them are pure love.
Welcome back. Residents in Colombia are urged to flee due to a possible volcanic eruption. The Nevado del Ruiz volcano, seen here, has been put on orange alert, meaning eruption is probable, but when is uncertain. Many local residents are staying in the area despite the order to evacuate. Some say they have evacuated volcanic events before and don't believe they need to do so and leave the area this time.
Many of us have been enjoying the warmer temperatures here in SoCal recently, but they have also led to snow melting in the Sierra and a fear of potentially disastrous flooding. Climate scientists are calling it the Big Melt. This past winter, the Sierra Nevada region experienced record-setting amounts of snowfall, and even though that was welcomed by many after years of drought, the melting snow could be a real danger. NASA has released satellite images which show snow levels on the slopes of the Sierra being 300% higher than normal. And recently, the region has experienced temperatures as high as the mid-90s. Flooding has already started in the San Joaquin Valley as well as Yosemite National Park. The park closed its doors last Friday and will reopen tomorrow. Speaking of crazy weather, we have Alex Cohen-Yarts live in the studio to give you your weekly weather forecast.
I'm hoping we won't have any more gloomy days this week. Alex, let us know what's up with the sky.
Thanks, Danielle and Emma. I'm so sorry to disappoint, but unfortunately, today is going to be a little bit on the gloomier side. Right now in Orange, it's 63 degrees and cloudy, but luckily, you should not be seeing any rain. As for our national weather forecast, we're seeing a lot of lightly cloudy weather across the nation today. Starting out in Seattle at 64 degrees, moving down the coast 56 degrees in San Francisco, a little gloomier in the Bay Area. Inland 76 degrees in Vegas, a little bit less warm than last week, but definitely still on the hotter end in the country. 66 degrees in Denver, less rain than last week there. As we go into the northern part of the country, 54 degrees in Minneapolis. Cooling down in Chicago at 51 degrees, similar conditions in New York, and some light showers in D.C. I was sad to hear that Juhi did not get that beautiful springtime while she was there. Yet when we go down south, it's going to be 66 degrees in Atlanta, definitely warming up in Dallas at 79, and Miami will be at a nice 83 degrees with sunshine. Just a little bit jealous of my family because they'll definitely be enjoying a nice Miami heat day. As for our Orange County forecast, it's going to be 63 degrees in Westminster, similar conditions here in Orange. As for down the coast, it's going to be 61 degrees in Newport and 60 degrees in Laguna Beach. A little bit warmer down in San Clemente at 63 degrees. Inland, 64 degrees in Irvine and 62 in Mission Viejo. As for your 5-day Fenestra forecast, today and tomorrow we're going to see highs of 64 and lows of mid-50s. A little bit cloudy, but definitely some sunshine as well. Unfortunately, things are going to be changing on Thursday with some light showers. Make sure you've got a raincoat or maybe an umbrella on hand so you don't get wet. As for Friday and Saturday, things are going to start warming up a little bit just in time for those Cinco de Mayo festivities, with 67 degrees on Friday and a high of 69 on Saturday. Definitely going to be enjoying that warmer weather this weekend after a little bit of a cooler feel during the week. That's it for your 5-day Fenestra forecast as well as your weekly forecast. I hope that you all have a great rest of your Tuesday. Back to you at the desk.
Thanks, Alex. You could soon have fewer choices when you're shopping for a new car. The Environmental Protection Agency recently introduced new, tougher emission standards designed to accelerate the transition to electric cars. The goal is to have electric cars be 2/3 of all new cars sold in 2032. However, there are concerns. Car enthusiast Noah Lee says he worries electric cars still won't match gas cars in range and price by 2032.
I would say in addition to other factors like living costs are pretty high already, I would say that to force now people to get an electric car would be just an even higher burden.
According to the Alliance for Automotive Innovation, in 2022, 39% of all U.S. counties had no EV chargers. The EPA says the new rules will help car makers add more and cheaper EVs to their lineup.
The owner of the historic Balboa Island Ferry here in OC says it could close because of a new California zero emissions engine mandate. But on a recent visit to the ferry, I talked to many Newport Beach residents and business owners who are hoping that won't happen. The Balboa Ferry, a historic monument in the heart of Newport Beach for over a century.
It is the beauty of the island. It's the charm of Southern California. We don't have a ferry anywhere near this.
But now, passengers are wondering if the ferry will still be around in the next few years. A recent mandate by the California Air Resources Board requires all boats to switch to zero emissions engines by the end of 2025. Balboa Ferry owner Seymour Beek says they don't have the $2.5 million needed for the new engines. Many local residents can't imagine the city without the ferry.
I see in a newspaper and I was like, what the hell is this?
This is an absolute insult to Newport Beach. It will never happen. It's disgusting that it's up for conversation.
For local businesses, losing the ferry also means losing customers. Tony Armijo, owner of the Shade Shack, says it would hurt his business.
I sell a lot of products to people that go on and off that ferry. And on cars come from Balboa Island to the peninsula here, to the Balboa Fun Zone. And I believe our business and many other businesses here would lose sales, would suffer. So I really hope it doesn't stop operating.
The ferry owner Beek says he's still looking for donations to help pay for the new engines. You can visit www.balboaislandferry.com for more ways to help donate. I'm Danielle Burke-North reporting for Chapman News.
The City of Orange is looking to crack down on street vendors. The City Council is currently considering an ordinance that would require street vendors to pay a permanent fee, obtain a business license, and work from one fixed location. Those who do not comply would be fined and possibly have their permit revoked. Councilmember Kathy Talveras says street vending is unfair to local businesses.
These guys can go out and do everything sideways, make more money, and cheat these people out of business. That's not cool.
Just a few months ago, California moved to make it easier for vendors to sell food on the streets by modernizing state codes and regulations. The council will vote on the ordinance later this month, and it is expected to pass.
Chapman University has received a $1.5 million donation to upgrade Panther food pantries, which support students experiencing food insecurity. Chapman currently has 2 Panther pantries, one at the Orange campus and one at the Rinker campus. The Orange campus pantry is now located in the dorms at Northmoreland Hall. The pantries provide students with food and hygiene products. Chapman plans to use the new donation to offer more food options for students with special dietary needs and upgrade the pantry spaces and equipment. A new mobile program that brings medical care to the homeless has been launched in Garden Grove. The Street Medicine Program is a joint initiative between the City of Garden Grove and 2 local healthcare providers, CalOptima and Healthcare in Action. Orange County 2nd District Supervisor Vicente Sarmiento has high hopes for the program.
It's a van that's been retrofitted to provide care. It'll have physicians on board. It'll have resources on board to go meet people where they are. People that really are not receiving any care for many reasons, right?
The goal of the Street Medicine Project is to improve the health of homeless people and reduce healthcare costs associated with emergency room visits and hospitalizations. The program will also offer referrals to social services, housing resources, and substance abuse treatment. If successful in Garden Grove, the program will expand to other Orange County cities.
I'm Peyton Bell, and I'll have the latest on the Lakers, Chargers, and Chapman sports. Stay tuned.
They call me Maxie, but I prefer tripod. I was your above-average four-legged homie, and then wham, bam, minivan. Some people pity me. Now that's lame. I still run, fetch, and swim. And the ladies love me. I'm the ultimate wingman. Just don't ask me to high five.
It's a big night tonight for NBA fans here in California.
Peyton Bell joins us live in the studio with that story and more.
Thanks, Emma and Danielle. Hello, everyone. I'm Peyton Bell, and welcome to the Best Campus Sports Show. The Lakers officially knocked out the Memphis Grizzlies and are ready to take on the Golden State Warriors in Game 1 of the Western Conference semifinals tonight at 7. This star-studded matchup is destined to be exciting. This is the first time that LeBron James and Stephen Curry will go head-to-head in playoffs since 2018, when LeBron was still with the Cavs. The Lakers have been on a hot streak since February, but the Warriors definitely know how to close out tight playoffs games. It'll be a fun series to watch for sure. In unprecedented hockey news, the Florida Panthers are ready to face the Toronto Maple Leafs after an insane upset win against the Boston Bruins in Round 1 of the Stanley Cup playoffs. That's right, the Florida Panthers beat the Boston Bruins in the same team that set multiple NHL records for regular season success. The Bruins had a lead in Game 7 with only 1 minute left, but a quick Panther goal took it to overtime, where the Panthers scored a game winner. Super exciting stuff if you're not from Boston. The Panthers and the Leafs will hit the ice tonight at 4. The NFL draft was this weekend, and the Chargers opened their draft by selecting TCU wide receiver Quentin Johnston in the first round. He's a big dude, standing at 6'3" and weighing 208 pounds. Although I've never played football, I have to imagine he's crazy fast and difficult to escape. According to the Chargers, they project him to add an element of explosiveness. Johnston had this to say in the introductory press conference.
It's been a mix of emotions. I didn't know whether to just smile and do a backflip or cry. It's been fun. It was obviously a special experience for me, and then also my family as well.
I'd probably feel like doing a backflip too if I got to move from Texas to Southern California. But seriously, congratulations to Quentin. Moving to my personal favorite, track and field, the Panthers had a massive weekend. The men's team placed 4th overall and the women's placed 5th, just behind them. Overall, both men's and women's teams won SCIAC honors for the 4x100 and the 4x400. Allie Kremer placed 1st in the women's 400 meters with a time of 57.48 seconds. Azriel Shakur won the discus with a distance of 144 feet and 9 inches. And finally, for the Panthers, freshman Annika Carlson won the steeplechase with a time of 11 minutes and 28 seconds. So impressive. An exciting update from the men's lacrosse team. They are officially SLC champions for the first time since 2019 after wins against ASU and Concordia. Coach Callis was in great spirits after this weekend and is looking forward to the MCLA championships.
This weekend was great. I mean, the boys really played their hearts out. They really kind of left it all on the field. They're ecstatic. We reached one of our goals. We were the SLC champions, and we're going into the national tournament as a top 5 seed. So I think we're above our expectations right now, but we're still hungry. Our goal is to win the national championship, so that's where our mindset's at.
Definitely excited for them. Good luck, guys. Some heartwarming news from Nike. They just released the Mambacita Sweet 16 basketball shoes inspired by the late Gigi Bryant. In a statement to Nike, Gigi's mom, Vanessa, said the shoes represent Gigi's resilient spirit and love she had for not only the game, but for her family, friends, and community. Vanessa continued, "With these shoes, we hope to encourage everyone to embody my daughter's Mambacita mentality, to seize every moment, love deeply every day, and to find your own joy." That's all for the Best Campus Sports Show. Thanks for watching, y'all. I'm Peyton Bell.
Very heartwarming. Thank you, Peyton. From sports to fashion, the annual Met Gala happened yesterday, and the theme this year was fashion legend Karl Lagerfeld. Some notable outfits from the event are Jared Leto and Doja Cat adorned in cat-themed attire in honor of Lagerfeld's cat, Chopet. Nicole Kidman showed up in an iconic gown she wore in 2004 for a Baz Luhrmann commercial. Lil Nas X walked down the carpet covered in gems and silver body paint. Emma Chamberlain and Jack Harlow reunited on the carpet after their viral moment at last year's Met Gala. Take a look.
How are we gonna outdo what we did?
We don't have to. It's us.
It's just us.
It's a timeless partnership.
I'm Sofin Kevorkian. Stay tuned for the story of an Orange County high schooler who has found a way to give back to his homeland across the world.
When times get dark, we can't see the help that's all around us. Let 211 be your guiding light for help with food, healthcare, and other resources.
211, how can I help you?
Call 211 or visit 211.org. 211, get connected, get help.
The inaugural Orange Film Fest is in the books. The festival, founded by Chapman Jr. Derek Davidian, was held this past weekend and was a full year in the making. Davidian and his team of fellow students were excited to get the festival started.
Who's ready for the Orange Film Fest?
The festival was a success with a good turnout. The film Maud took home the first ever Best Picture award and a prize of $1,000. And entertainer Weird Al Yankovic was a special guest. How fun is that? Davidian says he's already planning for the future festivals.
The first ever Dana Point Film Festival kicks off this Thursday. The festival's goal is to celebrate the ocean with film screenings, panel discussions, and more. One of the highlights is the free screening of the 60th anniversary of the classic surf film, The Endless Summer. The festival will also have local events for the community, such as musical performances and educational programs. This festival will run Thursday through Sunday. For information about how to buy a ticket, you can go to danapointfilmfestival.org. This Friday is Cinco de Mayo, which commemorates Mexico's unexpected victory against France in the Battle of Puebla in 1862. This victory helped Mexico gain independence from France just 5 years later. The holiday now is celebrated with historical reenactments, parades, mariachi music, and more. You can find information about local celebrations of Cinco de Mayo here in Orange County at enjoyorangecounty.com. One Orange County high school student is honoring his Armenian heritage by giving back.
Chapman News reporter Sofin Kevorkian joined us in the studio to tell us more.
Hello everyone. Levon Alyanakian is a high school student from Laguna Hills, and he has quite the story. Growing up with little free libraries in his local community, he found inspiration to bring them to his fellow Armenians.
Meet Levon Alyanakian, an Armenian living in Orange County. The high schooler has found a special way to stay connected to his roots and give back to his people.
A Little Free Library is a small library where people can share books.
The idea behind it? Take one and leave one.
And I have placed 33 Little Free Libraries all across Armenia.
Located in the South Caucasus, the Republic of Armenia has rich historical and cultural significance. In doing so, he's received quite the buzz.
In 2022, I made the list of the top 125 most influential people in Orange County.
Levon's first trip was in 2022.
Last summer, we took 6 suitcases full of books to Armenia. We put in 30 to 40 books in each library just to get them started off, and those were mostly in English, a few in French, and then anything added thereon would have been Armenian. My favorite experience throughout the entire process of Little Free Libraries was visiting the villages. I had some great experiences, especially with the children of the village, the elders of the village. It just was heartwarming to see the amount of joy that small library could bring to an entire village.
As Levon leaves his mark in Armenia, Armenia fills him with more than he could have ever imagined.
I'm really grateful that Little Free Libraries had given me this opportunity to meet these wonderful people and see these wonderful places. It makes me feel really good to be able to give back to the country of my grandparents and great-grandparents. It feels great. I will be going back this summer to continue this project, and I am really looking forward to it.
Wow, what a beautiful way to contribute to your people and homeland. Levon, who stays in touch with many of the people he's met along the way in Armenia, says he's received wonderful feedback and sees no end to this project in sight. I'm Sofin Kevorkian reporting. Back to you.
Spring is in full swing, and thanks to the record-setting rainfall, the flowers are blooming beautifully.
Our Brady Grustas visited Costa Mesa to learn more about a popular plant celebration.
Here at South Coast Plaza in Costa Mesa, customers can shop at some of the biggest brands in the world. Every year, local planters like Ricardo from Ricardo's Nursery in Long Beach bring their best greenery to South Coast Plaza for the Spring Garden Show.
We love it here. It's a great place to be. And with the designs that they have down below and all the people here selling plants and fruit trees, it's just amazing.
The show features almost 40 different plant vendors with a variety of exotic plants and flowers.
A lot of orchids. There's a lot of orchids. There's a lot of rare plants. I mean, and at the very end, there's fruit trees. So we have 2 stands this year. We have this one here for plants and the other one at the other end for fruit trees. So we are selling also fruit trees.
You can also find model home and garden displays, as well as a beautiful 25-foot-tall centerpiece. Although the garden show has finished for this year, it's never too late to appreciate the wonderful nurseries here in OC. For Chapman News, this is Brady Grustas reporting.
Do you have a favorite flower, Danielle?
The dandelions will forever be my favorite flower.
That's a great one.
Well, that's all for us this week. Make sure to check out YouTube page at chapmannews.tv and make sure to follow us at Chapman News. I'm Danielle Burke-North.
And I'm Emma Charles. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week for our last newscast of the semester.